In this module, which we call the economics of money, you will have 3 learning goals. 1, get to know how the idea of money originated. Was it invented or was it discovered? 2, what is the distinction between needs and wants? Plus, how do we distinguish amongst necessities, comforts, and luxuries? 3, why should we pay our taxes? And how do we differentiate between investments and savings? Let me begin with telling you about how money originated. Back in school, you would have read that Graham Bell invented the telephone. From 1875, when he uttered the iconic word hello, to 2000, the turn of the millennium, the landline held a sway over public imagination. And then came the smartphone, which over a period of time destroyed the telephone. So much so that many people believe that by the year 2025, landlines will formally make an exit. Also in school, you would have been told about a man called Isaac Newton and about his transformational law, the law of gravity. You'd have been told about how in the year 1687, Newton, sitting under an apple tree, watching the apple fall, discovered the law of gravity. It's of course completely another matter that many people in school think that if only Newton had not sat under the apple tree, they would have been saved a lot many hazards. But the most startling fact, the surprise among surprises, is that the one matter that's most important in trade and in commerce, cash, was neither invented nor discovered. Yes, you heard it right. Money was neither invented nor discovered. It slowly evolved over a period of time. And to understand that evolution, let me tell you the story of the barber, the carpenter, and the milkman. Many centuries ago, there was a system called barter. I'll give you an example to help understand what barter was. Suppose my name is Sam and say I'm a barber. Suppose your name is Charles and let's assume that you're a carpenter by profession. If I do a hairdressing work for you, then you in return will pay me for my services by doing carpentry work for me. However, therein lies a problem. The hairdressing work that I do for you would possibly take me only 20 minutes, whereas the carpentry work that you do for me could perhaps take 120 minutes. Therefore, in all fairness, I will possibly have to do hairdressing for 6 people in your family for you to do a carpentry work for me. That is the first of the problems. The second of the problems is that you come to me for a hairdress every other month or every other quarter, but I may not necessarily have carpentry work to be done for me every quarter. So, what is it that you would give in return to me for the service that I rendered to you? That is a serious problem associated with a system of barter. Let's take this example a little further. Let's assume that nobody in my profession, no barber, wants carpentry work to be done. then how would you, a carpenter, and how would your family get its hairdressing done? Therein lies the second disadvantage of barter. Let's step into an extension of this example. I need grocery every day. I go to a vegetable vendor every day to buy vegetables. The vendor does not want hairdressing done to him, nor to anybody in the family. Now I will have to find out what does his family require. Now let's assume that his family needs milk. It would now be my job to go and find a number of milkmen to whom I do a hair cutting service, and who then in return will sell or give milk to the vegetable vendor, who then in return will give vegetables to me. I'm sure you have by now realized how cumbersome, how circuitous, how troublesome barter can be. Let's now cut into a section that I call the yellow metal and paper currency. Tired of the limitations of the system of barter, people turned to the yellow metal, gold, along with its associated cousin, silver. People started depositing gold and silver either in banks or in temples, in exchange of which they were given a note, which we loosely call the banknote. Now, the banknote was used like currency. So I, the barber, if I wanted carpentry work to be done from you, Charles, the carpenter, I get the work done and I issue the banknote to you. I use the same banknote to buy milk from the milkman, vegetable from the vegetable vendor, and grocery from the grocery shop. This came to be called the gold standard. I trust you are with me so far. What we have thus far said is that there was a system of barter where goods or services were exchanged between two people. These had limitations, and therefore gold and its paper avatar became the mediums of exchange. So, the issue boiled down to one of trust. Trust as in T-R-U-S-T. One bright morning, the government said that there is no need for a gold backing, that they would issue notes, also called currency, with a value written on it. And they promised that they would honor it. They promised that everyone in the country will accept it. The government had thus taken trust to a whole new level. Imagine the currency was printed on paper, which by itself has no intrinsic value. Remember, technically a rupee 100 note and a rupee 2000 note should be of the same value. The government, however, said that the 100 rupee note will be valued at 100 and the 2000 rupee note will be valued at 2000, and the people simply agreed. And when the government in November 2017 said there will be no rupees 500, no rupees 1000, and they said that these two denominations are now worthless, the people agreed. This does not mean that the gold standard was better. After all, gold too has no great importance. It attains value because of its scarcity. Full stop. As long as people trust the system, paper currency is acceptable. I'll repeat that phrase. As long as people trust the system, paper currency is acceptable. That's how money, or more importantly, paper currency evolved. Today, there are multiple other forms of money. We have debit cards, we have credit cards, we have electronic fund transfers, we have mobile banking, we have the automated telling machine, we have the electronic wallets, so on and so forth. Each one of them represents a form of money. There is a wide speculation and there is a certain amount of strong belief that by the year 2040, cash, currency as a form of money will disappear and every transaction will take place electronically. We are done with knowing how money evolved. But before we move on to our next learning goal, let's do two things. Let's do a couple of exercises and then I'll summarize what we learned now. On that sheet of paper, with a pen that you have on hand, or in that electronic gadget of yours, answer these two questions and I'll be here with you as you answer. Question number 1, is money an invention or is it a discovery? Question number 2, what is barter and what are its significant limitations? If you're done with that, let's quickly recapitulate what we learned. I began by telling you that unlike the laws of physics, unlike the laws of chemistry, unlike the products that have been produced, money is neither an invention nor a discovery. It evolved over a period of time. It all started with barter, where people exchanged goods or people exchanged services. The cumbersome nature of barter slowly led to a system of gold standard, and sometime in the early 20th century, the government said, we'll do away with gold standard. We, the government, promise that we will honor the paper money. We'll honor and give value equivalent to the amount that is written on the note. And that was how currency evolved or currency began. Over a period of time, other forms of money have also come by. The most important of which are the debit cards, the credit cards, and the checks. There is a belief that by 2040, cash will be done away with and the entire world will move electronic. Thank you.